Are you ready? Yes. Welcome to Real Estate Makes Us Drink. Brian Quinlan here from Daniels Real Estate.
Brad Nickham from Nest Mortgage Group.
Excellent. Brad, cheers. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to our bar.
That's right. If this is your first time here, number one, welcome. Number two, if you need to reach out to us, our information is right here below. Feel free to send us a text message. It's there. Send us a text message. You can also leave a comment. We will absolutely respond, and we appreciate you being here. What we talk about here is real estate,
yes,
lending,
all the time,
and dumb stuff.
All the time.
I mean,
it's like that's really our key thing.
Sports, music,
yeah.
watches.
Oh, we love talking about watches.
And randomness is really
very
what
random.
It is. So
yeah.
Now, not so random, Brad. This is Super Bowl week.
Man, I'm so excited.
This might be airing on Super Bowl Sunday.
I've been waiting for the Super Bowl all year.
While recording this, we do not know who has won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we do.
We know who's
the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl.
The 49ers are a very good team.
Yeah, but the Chiefs do their thing in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. No one thought the Chiefs were going to be. Now everybody's like, "Oh, the Chiefs suck." Blah 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 blah. It's going to be Carolina. It's going to be Baltimore. It's going to be Baltimore.
Anyone ever said it was going to be Carolina.
I think
they're the worst team in the league.
Somebody said it.
I highly doubt.
It's going to be Baltimore, right?
Okay. And right.
I don't know if you noticed. Well, Detroit didn't play the Chiefs. That's the other side. Detroit,
I'm sorry.
But the Chiefs embarrassed Baltimore.
They played really well. I mean,
yeah.
You know what I don't think the Chiefs have gotten enough credit for is their defense has been really good.
Their defense was amazing. I mean, they shut down one of the best offensives.
NFL
the only
MVP?
Thing cool about it was...
I assume he's the MVP anyway.
Lamar caught his own pass. And even us people that didn't play football in school, you know, the short kids that were little and didn't understand the sport. Like my best friend was a quarterback and I didn't play. But we all caught our own pass in the backyard and act like we won the Super Bowl.
Sure.
Now, unfortunately, they lost.
Yeah.
They did.
Had Lamar caught that and ran for a touchdown,
that
would have been one of the greatest plays in history.
But they still would have lost. And do you know the minute they lost that game?
No, go ahead.
The minute that Flowers took that ball and spun it and got that taunting, that is the play that changed the momentum of the whole game.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's when they lost it.
And unfortunately, a couple of plays later, he's also the guy who fumbled it. And coincidentally, the dude he taunted is the one who forced the fumble. So,
and then he punched something and cut his hand really bad. And
that's a tough series for
I hate to say it, but maybe he
Flowers.
Shouldn't get a paycheck for a week.
Well,
he wouldn't know.
Maybe he would.
There's one thing. If we combine our income together and we multiplied it by, I'm going to say 100, we don't make what those football players make.
Well, he is a rookie, so his isn't quite as high as some of the others. Eventually, he'll probably get there. I know. It's sad.
League minimum for the NFL. You know what it is?
I believe it's like 400,000.
470, I believe. Okay. And Brock Purdy, a great quarterback for San Francisco, making $847,000, lowest paid quarterback in the league.
That is a bargain.
He's going to get a huge boost to his contract.
Actually, because
his contract ends this year.
Okay, yeah, that's right. He would have only
so he signs for next year.
Good for him.
Yeah,
because had he been like
he's peaking at a good time.
Had he been a higher round draft pick, he might have had a 4-year contract. Right. Still had 2 more years of it.
Yeah, no, he's peaking right now.
Oh, good for him.
That's not what we're going to talk about today.
But that's what.
What else
you're
can
saying,
we talk
You're
about?
saying Chiefs.
Chiefs, yeah, I think the Chiefs all day long. I mean, I think the Chiefs have such a history. They know how to play in the playoffs. The Mahomes Kelsey Swift show is going to just bring it home. I mean, they played so good together, and the defense is so on. And you have a young offense with San Francisco. They're going to get kind of pushed around, and I think.
Taking San Francisco.
Are you really?
I am.
So I say we place a bet.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so the bet will be if San Francisco wins, I have to do a shot of whatever you pick off the wall.
Wow.
And if the Chiefs win, You have to do 2 shots of tequila. And I have to pick the tequila.
Oh, man. You can do me dirty on
I mean,
that.
they'll be full shots, too.
Oh, Lord.
They'll be filled up.
So I need to have an Uber that day is what you're saying.
No, you can stay here. We have a cot.
Is it long enough?
Yeah, we have a long cot.
Deal.
Okay, shake it on right
All
here.
right, here we go.
All right.
Maybe I just won't air this episode if I lose.
Aw, that'd be wrong.
I'd edit it out.
He'll edit it out.
There it is.
Yeah,
It never
I'm
happened.
not the editor.
It never happened. Well, speaking of shots, Brad,
Are you ready?
it's a season 2 tradition, and you have now turned me on to. This seems completely generic. It's called Honey Spirit.
Okay, so if you look at the top, it has a name at the top. 1205.
It does.
Right?
1205.
So this is a distillery out of Westfield,
Indiana?
Indiana.
Right here, homegrown.
Right here, homegrown. They also make the High Fork, West Fork, I think.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
So same company.
Okay.
And this is a spirit that they have distilled out of honey somehow.
Out of honey. Well, excellent.
It has a little bit of a bourbon-esque type flavor. It is, I believe, an 80 proof spirit. See if it says on the 80 proof.
Oh, that's a lot of reading.
And it has a very interesting flavor. It's
90.
nice to keep it 90 proof. It is a little stronger than I thought. It's good to keep it homegrown. So,
All right.
cheers. Ready?
Cheers to you, my friend. Go Niners. Ooh. All right. A little burns a little
Got
bit.
a little burn like a whiskey, right?
Uh-huh. Okay.
But can you taste the sweetness of the honey in it?
I do. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
So it's fairly good. What are you drinking today? What's in your glass there?
Today's
In your Dick's
a
glass?
Coors Light, unfortunately. I'm not going to say unfortunately. It is my favorite and my go-to.
Is it from my kegerator?
It's from your kegerator. It's been here a while.
As a person who can't drink beer and has a kegerator in his house, I always appreciate people that come and drink my beer. So it's
You
good
are welcome.
beer. I am having a squirt,
Squirt.
which is pretty common, with a tequila called Siete Luganes. Luganes.
Are you sure about that?
Siete
Leguas
Luganes.
or Leguas?
Luganes.
There's no N in there.
Luganes.
L-E-G-U-A-S. Leguas.
Luganes. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not Spanish, so I could be
Neither
saying it
am I.
wrong. But
Damn,
this
they're not
tequila,
throwing
actually,
away
there's
the
an
letters.
interesting thing about Luganes. Luganes.
There's no N.
Luganes.
Leguas.
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 Siete Leguas.
Thank you. Idiot.
Okay, idiot. He called me an idiot. I heard it. Look at these little blue agave plants.
What's the interesting thing about it?
Okay, so this tequila is made by one of the founding distilleries in Mexico. So it's a very old tequila, at least the distillery is. And one of the things really cool about this tequila is they don't make tequila for other people like a lot of the distilleries do. And when
You mean like The Rock can't come in there and have his tequila
correct,
made?
yeah. So
Okay.
so like some of the tequila distilleries will make 500 different tequilas.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
But like when you look at Fortaleza, which is a really amazing tequila that's a descendant from the Salsa family, they only make 2 tequilas, and they're labeled to their name. One of them is sold in Mexico, one is sold in America. This company here they make their tequila using a tahuna, which is a oldest way to crush the agave piñas, which is the agave plant is the base of tequila. They still use fiber to distill. So that means fibers of the plant go actually into the distillery pots.
Huh.
So it gives you a true agave flavor. And the guy that owned Paul Mitchell, he went down to Mexico. He
his
thought
name
about
Paul?
making, no, actually, his name is weird. It's
Well, that's a strange name.
his name's not weird.
We don't
but,
have to look it up. It's
but
fine.
I want you to say his name because you'll be able to pronounce it, and I'm not that smart. But when he went down to Mexico because he wanted to start his own tequila company, and he had this company create what today is known as Patron.
Oh,
So
People have heard of
Patron
that.
is a huge
do you
tequila
have Patron
today.
somewhere up in here?
I do not believe I have any Patron. How do you say that name?
John Paul de Joria?
John Paul Tahori. He's a billionaire. He owns Paul Mitchell Hair Care Company.
Yeah, I've seen him before.
But his largest company that he owns is Patron.
Huh.
So this company made Patron for 2 years under a private label, and then Patron went off and created their own distillery and system and match a lot of the ways they do it. And as a person who has not been a big fan of Patron and probably a negative Patron person,
wow,
they actually use a tahuna. They use the oldest way to cook the agave in an alcove. They use fiber in their distillery process. It changed my whole view of how I look at Patron as a company. They are a true old school tequila manufacturer with no additives. So much like Siete, however you say Leguas. I don't think that's right. But they say it different when I'm down there.
I'm fairly certain I am spot on with that.
You could be.
I certainly know there's no N in the word.
There is no N in there, and I add letters to stuff. I'm not a good speller either.
Okay, let's shift to the world of lending.
Okay.
Today, while recording this, the Fed had their January meeting, and
what is the name of our Fed chairman? Do you know?
Powell. Did I get that
Jerome
right?
Powell.
Okay. Thank you. So not much came out of that.
No, nothing that we didn't expect. They're not talking about lowering rates right now,
which is probably a big disappointment to people. All they've heard since December is rates are going to start coming down, and
but the Fed fund rate is probably going to come down in March. I mean, they were very, very clear on that. But one of the things that happened when the Fed talked about lowering the Fed fund rate, 3 times this year and 7 times total, is the market got really excited, right? And one of the things that they're trying to do with the Fed fund rate where it is to slow the market down. So if you notice that there was a couple of weeks after that he was a little hawkish on those comments. He kind of drew some of them back. And today he did similar. He said, hey, we're not going to lower the rate right now. And we do believe there'll be rate drops in the future. But, they're looking for that target rate of 2% or below on core inflation on CPI. Even though we have PPI at 0, which is wholesale inflation, you would think that would show that, hey, it's really coming down. But we have seen some ticks up in several places, and one of them being shelter. And one of the things you cannot ignore is the fact that home prices continue to go up. Case-Shiller just came out showing that month over month we're up 0.7%. If you start looking at those numbers year over year, home prices are continuing to go up and continuing to rise. And that does, cause an effect in core inflation because they look at shelter. So the other thing that hasn't happened at the rate that they want to see is unemployment. So we have seen some big decreases in wages, but wages have kept ahead of inflation because inflation has come down. So some people are saying, that's wage inflation because wages haven't fell as fast. And unemployment just hasn't fell as fast as you would think. So some people believe that March decrease in the Fed fund rate maybe won't happen. Some people believe it will. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. Interest rates have continued to slip the last couple days. Today was actually a good day in the market, where the last week and the week before we've seen a lot of increases in the Fed in the 10-year Treasury, which kind of ticked rates back up into the 7s. We're not supposed to talk about rates, but into the low 7s, high 6s, depending on program, down payment, credit score, blah, blah, blah.
Lots of factors in that.
So as we've seen that tick up, some people have said, well, why is that ticked up? And it's some of the stuff that's happening in the Red Sea and with the Houthis, I think is how you say it, Houthis, I believe. Houthis, which is, as far as I'm concerned, probably a terrorist organization out of Iran.
Sounds right.
But as they've attacked ships in the Red Sea, which a lot of people don't know, the Red Sea leads you to the Suez Canal, and it cuts off Africa. So you can bring things from the west, right? Is it the west or the east?
We would be west.
Bring things from Japan and China to America. And when boats have to skip the Suez Canal and go all around China, I was really bad with geography in high school. Actually, all classes I was bad with in high school. If you were one of my teachers, comment below. Except for Mr. Kaufman, you were the best.
I'm sure he's watching.
I love Mr. Kaufman. But, when you got to take boats all the way around Africa, that increased shipping costs, and it could increase the cost of the barrel of oil. And if oil costs go up, of course, that leads inflation. So a whole bunch of things that, when you think about what's happening with the economy and you go, oh, everything's going the right direction, and then, we're probably going to bomb something in Iran.
Yeah,
we should.
Seems we're headed in that direction.
I have to say we should. Whenever a military soldier in America is killed by a foreign country, that's when America should act. And I'll be honest, I'm a little disappointed in seeing our current president, but we should have already done something. And you can look at a lot of presidents in history that would have already done something. So there's my political soapbox. I'm off. If you don't like me, don't follow.
We don't get very political.
No, and not everybody has to agree, but we all live in a country where we're free to say the things that we want to say. But if you can't sit back and realize that our people that are 23 and 24 years old that get out of high school and they sign up to go, maybe it's not because they want to go fight for our country, but maybe they want to serve our country because they know there's a lot of advantages to being in the military. Maybe it's to the GI Bill to go to college. Maybe it's to save money to buy a house. All the things that we see, the advantages that our military get. And I don't think they get enough, honestly.
No, they do not.
And then to have a mom on TV yesterday crying about the loss of her daughter. I don't know if you've seen that on the news.
I did not.
It was freaking heartbreaking.
I'm sure it was.
And she's 23 years old, and she was killed in a drone attack. And, I have to say that if I would not be a good president because I would have tossed a bomb. There'd be just an oil pit in that area of the country or the world. But, I really appreciate what our military people do and the sacrifice that people, not only the people that go, but their families give. And when I see that happen, it's infuriating. So going from that and all of that conversation about the love of our military and knowing that if you are a veteran, we can help you get a house with no money down.
For sure.
But here's my question, because I have a lot of people that ask me this question. I have a customer there right now. What if the customer says, hey, my lease doesn't end till May or June or July?
And, I get that a lot.
All the time.
And I understand why you ask that question, like how long should we wait to do that? Because from your standpoint, if I sent someone to you today to get a pre-approval, it's good for how long?
90 days. Your credit report is good for 90 days.
So 90 days, we're going to just say 3 months, right?
Right.
So 3 months from now, this being recorded in, we'll call it February.
Super Bowl Sunday.
There you go. So this being recorded in February, 3 months from now is May. If their lease doesn't end until June, well, now what? So let me ask a secondary question to you. After that 90 days, what's the process for extending that, or can they, or what?
Okay, so I'm probably looser than a lot of mortgage companies because, the rule is you have to pull a new credit report, you have to update docs, and kind of do the process over. But I don't think customers need to constantly have their credit report pulled. So I ask them a series of questions, and they're all kind of fun. I say,
it probably is.
Have you done anything stupid to your credit? They answer no.
What would be stupid, Brad?
Paying something late.
Oh,
that would be stupid.
Buying a car.
Oh, no. That's my next question. Have you bought anything stupid?
Oh, okay.
Like buying a car. And then have you done a stupid thing like quitting your job?
Oh, okay.
So to be all serious, if a customer hasn't changed their credit, right? People know when they've done something wrong with their credit, or if they bought something new or increased their credit card debt, or if they've changed jobs, or if they spent all their down payment money. Those are the things I'm looking for. And if the customer hasn't done that and they had good credit going in, then I'm going to say, look, we're not going to pull your credit again until you actually have a house that you're ready to write an offer on. You're serious about one, you write an offer, and I'll pull credit. We'll update everything at that point.
Cool.
Now, let's say it was a lower credit score borrower, maybe a little bit issued borrower. Then at that point, I'm probably going to go ahead and pull a new credit report because, one, if they have improved things and done kind of the direction that we've given them, then at that point, their deal may be better. Maybe switch from FHA to conventional, give them a little more options in buying. So you kind of weigh it out with the customer, but it's not a really hard process if it expires.
Okay. And that's generally what I tell people is, you talk to your lender, they re-up it, might ask you for a few updates and whatever, but I mean, it's pretty much just a general rollover in most cases, right? Yep. So from my standpoint as the realtor, where I start is, okay, from under contract to closing is anywhere, and I tell people 30 to 40 days. Now, depending on your lender, Brad, you can beat 30 to 40 days, right?
Closing loans in 20 days.
There you go.
20 to 25 days.
And Brad is a great lender to use, but not every lender is like that, okay? But assuming 30 to 40 days,
you shouldn't use another lender.
So if your lease expires in June, if we back up, let's say a month, okay, that puts us into May. And that's the actual acceptance of a contract. That has nothing to do with how long it takes us to potentially find a house that you want.
Right.
The market kind of determines things. If we're looking right now, and I'm saying, like I said, this is February, and things are still kind of slow because interest rates are still what people would consider high, there's not a lot of competition for you. So if you're going to go look for houses, there's a good chance you can make an offer with little to no competition. So we have a little bit of extra time to be able to look at houses, consider options, and all of that.
I mean, that is picking up, though.
Oh, it is, and the beginning of the year typically is a little bit slow.
I had a realtor list of 180, 3-bedroom ranch, 27 showings over the weekend.
Yeah, well, I mean, 180.
It's the sweet spot.
I have a house at $499. It's not getting
there.
Yeah, exactly. Price point matters, but again, like I said at the beginning there, the market kind of determines how things are going. So each situation is a bit different. But, for me to say if your lease expires in June, that April is a good time to start talking about looking at houses, I think that's legit. Mm-hmm. And because you just don't know what kind of competition you're going to get into, how many offers you potentially maybe need to make. But here's something that most, especially new buyers, have no idea. If they get under contract and purchase a house in April, close in early May maybe, or late April even, right? When's their first mortgage payment due?
So if you close in April, no payment in May, first payment in June. And that's because when you rent a house, you pay for the month you're about to live there, right? But in a mortgage, you actually pay the interest for the month that you lived there. Okay, so if you close in April, let's say you close on April 15th, part of your closing costs is the interest per day from April 15th to the last day of April. It's part of your closing costs. So you brought that, you covered April. You're not going to have a payment in May, you're going to have a first payment in June. Now, the only exception to that rule is if you close within the first 5 days of the month, because in that first 5 days of the month, there's what's called an interest credit. So that means you don't bring the whole month of May interest to close. If you're in that first 5 days, they credit you those first 5 days, and your first payment will actually be in June. Now, you have the option, though, to go, I'd rather bring all of the interest for the month of May, no principal, but just the interest, so not a full payment, and then you wouldn't have a payment in June, first payment would be in July. So there's a lot of options to spread that out, and I have a lot of customers that we talk about that when we look at when their leases are up. And another thing I've found a little more common in today's leasing market, because there's not enough homes for everybody, right? It's a big challenge. So I've had a lot of places that have actually let people out of their leases with just the loss of their security deposit and no other fees, because they know they can rent the house right out.
For sure.
And then I've also had one client downtown that they were like 4 months into their lease, so they had 8 months to go. And the apartment complex is, hey, we don't care if you sublet it. So they were allowed to sublet, and then the apartment complex actually gave them names of people on a list that were waiting for an apartment. So he leased it out with a little bit of a profit.
Nice.
And then went ahead and started shopping for a house. So there's a lot of options.
One of the things that I will tell my clients who are in this situation, we're like, hey, my lease doesn't end until June, is I will tell them to go to their lease or go to their leasing office, maybe both, and see what the situation is. What happens if you break your lease early? Or go to the leasing office and ask them, okay, I might get out of this lease early. What are my options here? Because if it's a situation where rentals are in high demand, which they still are, then they may not care. They might say, pay us a 1 month.
But you're going to pay something.
Probably.
But still, it's better to get into that house of your dreams, right? And start earning that equity versus staying in that apartment. Yep. And really, if that's the situation we're in right now, And I encourage you to do it right now. You know, I seen a post, and I gotta get with Brian to figure out how to make it into a reel, because I think it'll give me some clickbait on my
I do know some social media.
So if you bought a house in 2000, you paid the same interest rates that are today, yet your home has grown almost 160% in value.
Wow.
From 2000 to today.
Wow.
So if you think about what you're spending renting, right? There's an old saying, the best time to buy a house is 5 years ago.
True story.
Always. But unfortunately, the time machine, as far as I know, besides the one that Taylor Swift is going to use to get to the Super Bowl, right? She is going to fly backwards in time.
Right.
Outside of that, it's the only one that I know of. And that's only given her like 13 hours, I think, right?
All she needs.
That's all she needs. But, you know, really...
13. A big number for 13. Taylor.
Actually, 13 is like there's a whole thing around that.
Oh, it's a very Taylor number.
Yeah, it's awesome. But at any rate, right now is the time. If you're thinking about it, now's the time.
Yep.
And if you wait and it's tomorrow's still the time.
Yep. You know, one of the things we've said on previous podcasts is the expectation is 2024. If and when rates do start to drop, the competition in the market is going to very likely explode.
I'll tell you this. Okay, so I was speaking to one of our account executives at a very large servicer, and he said that purchase applications are up 32%.
Wow.
Since January 1.
Wow, that's a lot.
And I've noticed where I've gone from 1 to 2 pre-approvals a day. Today I think I did 4. Yesterday I did 5. Right. So I'm just one loan officer. Right, one loan officer. So if you take the 80,000 loan officers in the United States, and they're all getting 3 and 4 pre-approvals a day, it's way up from where we were in November, where we're getting 1 a day.
Right.
Maybe 4 a week or 3 a week. So the pent-up interest in buying a home and the people that are jumping in today, and that's just a tip of the iceberg of what's going to happen.
Okay.
Don't wait.
Do not wait.
Don't wait.
Competition will only get worse.
I still think the people in July are going to look at people that bought a house in January like the people in 2021 looked at people that bought a house in 2019. They're so lucky.
Yep. Very true.
So you always wear that necklace every time?
I do, yes.
Tell me about that.
So this necklace was a gift to me as high school graduation from my parents back in 1991. And
man, that's a long time ago.
Right, a long time ago. And I've worn it almost every day since it was given to me. And it wasn't at graduation specifically, but my birthday is also at the end of May, so it's kind of coincided. So probably my 18th birthday, and I'm now 50, so do the math.
Art and dust.
There are some occasions where I'm swimming in the ocean and don't want to attract sharks. There are some occasions.
No, wait a second.
Where shiny stuff.
Are you saying that sharks, is that why they bite people in New Jersey? Because they wear a lot of gold chains?
Let's go with yes. I'm told that sharks might be attracted to shiny stuff. And why would I chance that? Number 2.
I think a couple of sharks would look over and go, look at that guy over there.
Number 2, occasionally I play in a sporting event, basketball primarily, where some people are a little more strict on jewelry.
Sure.
And so they'll tell you got to take your jewelry off, which I always think is stupid because I've never had this.
Never grabbed somebody by the neck.
Never had that hooked in a basketball event. But
if you did, you'd be bummed.
Random times in the last 18 to 50, long time, that I have taken it off. So there you go. You asked me that because you whipped out a very cool necklace today.
So I was a bit of a Van Halen fan all through high school.
Still are.
And I am, yeah.
Van Halen.
And most of my friends that know me from high school know that I was a big-time Van Halen fan. So my entire high school, I wore this necklace. Oh, man.
That's the silver VH. Is it F?
Van Halen.
Right? Is it an F at the end?
Just VH.
Don't tell me it doesn't look like an F, though.
Well, it does, but it wasn't supposed to. It's just a V.
The VH.
It's a V.
There it is. Okay, see? I got it.
So,
was that a symbol on every album or just
every album somewhere? The Van Halen sign is on there. So I wore this high school as a kid. I never took it off. People knew me because of this. So I found it in a drawer upstairs. So I cleaned it.
All right.
And it's shiny. I probably just wear it today.
I think it's cool.
So a little Van Halen, little Sammy Hagar.
Good for you.
Love it.
Hello, Sammy. I'm sure he's watching. You guys
Sammy
are
is
friends.
not watching this.
You guys are friends.
No, I've met him a couple of times. He just not know who I am.
Friends with Sammy Hagar. Brad Nickham.
That'd be awesome. I have gone to a lot of his birthday parties.
Yeah?
But here's the thing. My birthday's tomorrow.
Yeah.
And Sammy will not be there.
Oh, sad.
Invited every year. I extend that out. He's never shown up.
As I understand it, on your birthday, you are now eligible for a senior discount?
Yeah, 55 years old.
You're excited.
Little double nickels. Right?
You're excited for the senior discount, right?
Because I'm old. Yeah, I'm excited about it. Actually, tomorrow night at Tony's, I will be making sure that Ruben.
I'm sure he watches the podcast.
Ruben is the general manager of Tony's Steakhouse downtown, the one and only Tony's in Indianapolis, the greatest steakhouse in the city. Ruben better be watching this.
Okay.
Ruben better have a bottle of Fortaleza for me tomorrow.
Ooh, all right.
Let's hope.
Is that tequila?
It's phenomenal tequila. Actually, it may be a tequila that you like.
There's very unlikely.
Did you taste this one?
Dude, all tequilas taste the same. You know I don't have a good flavor palate.
That is a lie. He does not have a good flavor palate. He can't tell the difference between a hot dog and a Ruth Chris steak.
That's false.
Not a lot of difference, but if you had a steak at Tony's, you would know the difference.
Ruth Chris and Texas Roadhouse.
Okay, so Ruth Chris and Texas Roadhouse. Is it the rolls or the butter that you like there? Because you know, my wife. This is going to get me in trouble. Probably. We were in Cabo.
She does watch the show.
We were in Cabo just last week, and our Andy and Tammy and Dan and Jamie and Michelle and Gerald, they all went on a whale.
Hello to all of you people, because I'm sure you're all watching.
They went on a whale watching deal, right?
You did not.
No, I had to work. I was at my desk.
By preference.
No, I had calls to make. I had people to do it. I had loans to close, but I don't take vacation. I work from beautiful locations. But they went on this little bitty boat, and I don't know if you've seen the picture of the whale tail that came up right by their boat. I'll show it to you when you're done. The whale was like from here to that motorhome.
Nice.
It was awesome. And they're like, "Do you want to go watch the whales?" And I said, "No, I'll go to Texas Roadhouse and watch them in their natural habitat."
Oh, man.
Or Walmart to see what pajamas they wore.
See, it's this kind of stuff that's going to get us canceled, Brad.
We can't get canceled because we are producing our own thing, right? So what are they going to come on and say, "Oh, they're canceled"? Nope. We'll be back next week. So on that note, we'll be back next week. Like, share, or delete. How do you feel about it?
We'd appreciate it if you share.
We do.
We always appreciate comments and subscriptions. And, of course, if you need real estate assistance in Indianapolis, I'm your guy, Brian Quinlan. Please leave me a message. Or right below here, Brad, is my phone number, and yours is right there.
I can't see it. So I look every time. It's just not there.
It's there.
It's
so
imaginary.
Give us a call or a text message. We would absolutely love to help you out, right?
Absolutely, 100%. And if you ever want to come and be a part of the podcast and sit and drink a drink with us,
wow.
Reach out.
You're inviting a studio audience?
I am. A studio. We got a place for them to sit in between the lights.
Okay.
We could have drinks with them. How fun would that be?
This just expanded.
We should do it earlier before we have millions of people watching.
Well, on that note, Brad, cheers to you. See you next time. Thanks for watching.